Hey, HGT with Death Wears Bunny Slippers. This is an episode, bit of a miscellaneous episode of some things that had to be done to the complex. So the first is we had to clean out the vent shaft. Now the vent shaft is a bit out of time sequence because it was cleaned out over about a 6-month period. The reason is the top 17 feet was full of concrete slurry. Now slurry is without aggregate, so no rocks in it. It actually makes it easier. So what they did, the contractors, when they destroyed this, is they filled the vent shaft full of mud, and then by the blueprints, the deconstruction blueprints, they were supposed to put 10 feet of concrete slurry in it. Well, in ours, they ended up doing 17 feet. Well, we didn't know this when we started. There's no way to check. So this footage you're seeing right now is actually Christy and I out working. I'm turning off the liquid oxygen. Remember the scrapping that Christy and I tried to do? So this is kind of around that time. We're turning off those tanks. We just got done trying to do a bit of the scrapping. And you see just some of the normal work. I left this piece of footage in here, only sped up 2 times because I wanted you guys to see a little bit of what the operation looked like. So we had the torch. We're trying to pump out water. You see these pipes would come loose sometimes. We didn't always glue them in case we needed to do a lot of movement. So you have to move the pipes or anything. We just ended up going through thousands of feet, again, no exaggeration, of PVC pipe, trying to get this, this thing emptied all the time.
I wonder if you do better with the chest one.
And the last piece here is the vent shaft. I don't have any good footage of this. This is all I could find of the vent shaft work. What you see is the huge pile of this concrete slurry that Jerry took out, again, jackhammering and then bucket by bucket took out of there. And that vent shaft where you see the arrow, again in that, so we're kind of getting close to breaking through the concrete into the mud. We took out a Craigslist ad that said we'll pay $10 per inch for jackhammering this down. Now this is 3 feet in diameter, corrugated steel, total of 60 feet deep. So when we did this, we didn't know how deep it was. Again, in the end, we found that it was 17 feet of concrete slurry. But the second piece then is, what about the mud that was left in there? And so what you see is there's some footage of this guy, and this guy's named Jerry. Jerry worked out here for quite a long time, awesome guy, like 50 plus years old, skinny, had abs and everything. The guy was just a crazy workhorse, did awesome work. And a lot of what you see in this footage is like edited nicely. And what that means is you see me doing some of the work. The truth is, when it comes to the mud, I probably did 10% of it. There was a lot of mud to move. So one of the problems is it's easy to get the horizontal portion of the vent shaft clean. In fact, you see the cleaning out basically just with shovels, but then how do you clean the rest of what ends up being probably about 45 feet of mud out? If you do it from the top, that's fine, but that's bucket by bucket, and you're talking about a man plus a bucket being in there at the same time trying to shovel it. It really just didn't work well. So Jerry actually came up with the idea of just trying to loosen it up with water. So we took a water hose with a pipe and we just shoved the pipe into the mud from the top. Now again, we didn't want to clean it from the bottom because if that mud lets loose, you're talking about burying someone. So obviously hugely dangerous to do that, so we didn't do it. So here's what happened. So we let the water run, so this is just water hose and run, and we came back in the next day or one day, and that vent shaft had flushed like a toilet. The mud had come out from the vertical shaft, and mud was spread from the vent shaft hole, that escape hatch, probably as far as it would go. Now the footage you're seeing, we didn't record that, we didn't have it recording overnight, unfortunately. The footage you're seeing is, we've already cleaned a lot of it up, but it was straight up. We came out there, the whole thing was empty, and it just unloaded on the floor of level 3, and unfortunately, underneath level 3. Remember, there's a gap between the floors and the wall because this is all suspended. So a lot of the mud fell down underneath level 3. And I will tell you that created a bunch of work over the last years. Probably right now we may have all the mud out of there gone. So the buckets you see, so this movement of filling up buckets by hand and then lifting them up with the hoist and then dragging them out and then lifting them up with another hoist. It was a massive, massive amount of work. You're seeing one take of it. I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying that this probably had 2,000 to 3,000 bucketfuls over the lifetime of just moving this mud out. And there's no way that's an exaggeration. It was that much. And these bucket holes, or these bucketfuls, I should say, you know, they're probably half to 3/4 full because it is really, really heavy to move that much material. The second piece of this video is something, again, that kind of took place around the same time, and that was trying to clean this place up, and we did that with sandblasting. A lot of what I've done out here, instead of renting equipment, is I would buy it well used. I have a dozer and an excavator. Again, you get them for 15 grand a piece, and then when you're done with them, you sell them, hopefully, for 15 grand a piece. So it's actually a pretty good deal. So I did the same thing with a diesel sandblaster. So this thing's huge. It's a 375 cubic feet per minute, which is a massive, it's a 6-cylinder diesel air compressor, mainly for jackhammering and sandblasting. So you see the sandblasting work that's going on.
Here we can look at before and after.
Here's the problem with the sandblasting. I'll kind of give you guys just a heads up. We didn't keep doing it. It makes the metal look great, but it's really expensive to operate. The diesel fuel plus the coal slag, so use coal slag as the material, as the media to clean it up. It's just, it doesn't sound like much, but it's really expensive. Now you have to clean it all up. So now you've sandblasted all this, you have to clean it inside. So you have to take all the buckets of material that you've used, which is pallets and pallets of this coal slag, and you have to take those out bucket by bucket. We even put plastic down so that way it would catch it, but you're still talking about a massive amount of work. What we ended up doing, which will be in a future episode, is pressure washing. Pressure washing is amazing. Not the kind that you get from your local big box store, 3,000 PSI, a gallon or two per minute, no. We ended up using a 5,000 PSI with a needle point that spins at like hundreds of RPMs, and it makes this really loud whirring noise. But what it is 5,000 PSI at like 4 gallons per minute. It's a massive amount of water at ultra high pressure, like dangerous if you hit someone with it pressure. And that did the trick. Again, a lot of work, but to get all of it out, you just pump it. So much, much easier than dealing with. It's cheaper. Water is a whole lot cheaper than this media. So that's what we ended up going with. And years later, I can tell you that it was the right move to make. Sandblasting, while would be great, just didn't work out. As always, we appreciate it. Everything you guys do for us. If you don't mind subscribing, looking at some other videos. Again, we love everything that you guys do for us. We appreciate the support. We also have, merchandise like shirts and rebar pieces. We can even, and we haven't done this yet, but remember, you can be part of this project. We're going to put your name up on one of these walls. I haven't decided where. We're going to put your name on there if you contribute $25. You'll be a permanent part of this project, and you can get that through the merchandise link as well. All that helps us. Again, thank you very much, and we will see you in the next video.